Hey guys, Mike here. I run Scooby Ruby Roo, and for the last year and a half I've been making videos and stuff for the channel, and now I am starting to make content based on this. This has been given off a lot of questions by you guys, and today the video is going to be a little different. Not a lot of gameplay. It's going to be mostly me breaking down why I did this, what I used, and at the end of the video, how much everything would cost. So stay tuned, and hopefully I answer all your questions.
Here's a quick backstory of me. If you want to skip ahead, feel free. I do not mind at all. I don't get paid for these videos, so go right ahead. I'm 41 years old. I have my own house and a full-time job, so I don't have a ton of time to do this sort of content. This is a different kind of video for me. But I started this channel in 2025, probably around February, and I just wanted to make some videos and have fun, so not monetized at all, other than Facebook, which is not, that lucrative yet. So we'll see where that goes. But if you want to like and subscribe, go right ahead. I would love it, and I'd like to, help anybody out with their issues or problems. And if you see anything that I'm doing wrong or not doing great, go ahead and tell me. I'm not afraid about it. Mostly my sim racing is with friends, and I'll have parties and people come over and we jump on the rig. We have a little whiteboard that we put lap times up on. We do lap battles, and it's a really fun time to spend with friends. So here it is. I'm going to start out by giving you a little brief backstory on how I started and where we're going. I started out with a G27, but that broke, so I got a G29. And although it was good, it didn't quite get the job done. So I bought a GTR Cockpit, and it was okay. I had that for a number of years, maybe 5, 6 years. Then I decided to get the DD Pro by Logitech, and that changed everything. The cockpit was not good. It wobbled about. I mean, it was solid for something that was a belt drive, but it just was not good for the DD. Bought a cheap rig off of Amazon. It's a generic one, and that did the job a lot better. Here's my mom. She liked to play on it a little bit, although she was very slow. But I like to have everybody enjoy my stuff and have people over. It's pretty fun. Originally, I had a 47-inch Samsung ultra-wide monitor, but it became increasingly more hard to make videos for YouTube on it. I try to get around this by putting in video of my steering wheel input, as well as doing as I mostly did F1 content. But in the end, it just proved to be a little bit weird for the aspect ratio, and I don't know if people really liked it or not. I then spent quite a few hours editing this video to try to make it look like the F1 TV presentation, but yeah, again, these are things that I'm not sure if people care about or what, so leave a comment if you like this sort of thing. I basically just moved on to doing the TV offset camera for most of my videos until I started getting into AC Evo. I started out doing some just gameplay videos, and those were pretty fun, but I really wanted to get into the POV videos. I didn't have a good camera, so I decided to get an Insta360 Go Ultra camera, because then I could use it for my car as well. And then to everyone who says I could buy a car, I have three. I have the Type R, I have a 94 EG, and I also have a 2010 Honda Fit Sport, in which I use for a winter beater. I do a lot of cars and coffees on the weekend, so the camera comes in handy when I go there as well. During this time, I built a PC with a 4060 Ti and a 5600X processor, and it did a decent job. The footage looked good enough, but the aspect ratio combined with some ghosting that you'll see here made me really want to change it up a little bit. So I wanted to get the 45-inch OLED LG Ultra Gear monitor, and it was pretty expensive, but I thought it would be a pretty good middle ground between the two types of monitors. This worked out a lot better, and it looked better for games I played and looked better for the YouTube video content. I bought a mini monitor and I used it for a gauge display with SimHub. I then rebuilt my PC in my office with AM5 9800X3D and a 5080 GPU, and I really liked the performance of it, so I decided that's the route I wanted to go for the sim. I didn't go quite as hard. I got a PNY triple fan 5080 and a 7800X3D with a generic Amazon case. I then got caught up in Third Wheel Exclusive's YouTube channel and how we 3D printed his dash, so I decided to try to make one out of ABS. And it wasn't quite as nice as I intended it to be, but you know, it did the job pretty well, and it looked pretty good. I wrapped it with some suede vinyl, and it came out decent. I added in some Govee lighting above. It's just their light rope that works with your desktop app. The lighting experience was pretty good, and it is pretty quick to change your lighting in a certain situation, especially at night. It does pretty well. But something was inherently missing. I wanted a center console, and this center console had to be pretty decent. I wanted to build it myself, but I did not have a 3D printer and decided, hey, it's kind of a little too hard for me to build one out of ABS with having a center console with a lid and a shifter and all that stuff. So I ended up sourcing a Type R console, which obviously I own one, so I thought, hey, why not just try to duplicate that? And I tried to fit it up to the existing dash. After building the scaffolding and some modification, I was able to get it in a position that was decent, and the shifter worked in all 6 gears, minus the 7th, and reverse. Here's a highly technical drawing of how I designed it and put it together. But something was missing. I just couldn't get it to line up to the dash properly, and it looked kind of funky. So that's when the decision was made to eventually get a full dashboard and make it fit on my existing rig. I told one of my close friends about this, and he stole my idea, bought a 240 dashboard, and put it on his own. So I had to do it myself. That same friend actually found me a full dash with all the panels, because most of them are shipped without any of the auxiliary panels, like around the gauges and the glove box, etc. So I ended up buying this off of eBay. I bought a radio bezel kit off of Crutchfield and a mini monitor off of Amazon for the radio. I ended up buying an Elegoo Century Carbon 3D printer so that I could 3D print the bezel. I wrapped the bezel in 3M Scotch print carbon vinyl, and I 3D printed on a carbon plate. There was no way that the Logitech would fit under the dash, so I ended up getting the Fanatec Club Sport DD 15 Newton meter, and I had to modify the dashboard to get it in there and use the extender for the hub. Here's some time lapse of me breaking the rig down. It's pretty easy, as I've done it a few times before. I moved it into the corner. I created a nice little scaffolding for the dash to rest on before I tried to put it up there to get it to go. And here we go. I'm installing the dash here. I created a few pieces that would bolt to existing areas on the dash by the radio, and then some by the driver's side pillar, I would say. I basically just went on Amazon and I found 40/40 aluminum lengths and decided what length I want based on measurements, and put them in kind of T shapes and supports in the back to be able to support the dash. I then put on some 90-degree connectors on the top of the dash to hold it tight against it on the back side so that you can kind of see them there. The dash needed a good amount of adjusting. The angle wasn't perfect, and also the height ended up being changed a few times in the process. Was basically based off of my seating position in my Type R. So that's what the feel I wanted it to be like. I went through and would continually move stuff around in the back until I got the measurements or the seating position that I wanted. It was a nice little process here. I had to move the main supports quite a bit further back towards the monitor arm because both the center console and the kick panel by your knees, and I guess the knee panel, they would hit if they were too far forward. So right now I'm just going through and adjusting, taking off the foot plate for the pedals, and I think I'm reinstalling it there. But yeah, a lot of adjusting, a lot of changing of positions, and I wanted it to be pretty supportive, especially if I had the glove box on. Here I am installing the monitor mount on the back. I would later go on to install the side pieces so that I could have triple monitors on there, but that didn't come till a few weeks later. Here I'm just trying to see if the 3D printed wind sim duct that I made would still fit on the vents, and of course it wouldn't. I had to go back and readjust it, change it up because I lost one of the vents due to the support for the wheelbase being in the way. So I had to cut it in order to get the dash on there. But I think it's going to work out, and I'll be able to retain the driver's side and two middle vents for the wind sim. So now I want to talk about the seat that I chose. I decided to go for the Six Sigma, I think it's called Galaxy Red seat, and I went on the website and looked at the measurements, ordered it up. It was perfect size for me. It looked great. It fit the Type R look, and I got it in, and it was quite a bit smaller than I expected it to be, and that the measurements said it was. Man, this thing is a beautiful seat. I think it's made well and it looks fantastic, but it was way too small for my body. I'm only 6'1" and about 220 pounds. So I reached out to the company and sent an email to them with the pictures that I found. And this isn't really a review on the seat, so to speak, but it kind of is. So they essentially said, I would like to offer you $100 off, and you get to keep the seat. And now this is a $400 seat, so I thought, you know what, I can't sit in this seat, so why am I holding on to it? So I emailed them back and said I would like to return it. I was going to use it, for my channel and for, photos and everything, and I can't do it anymore because it's just way too small for me. There's no way I could sit in this seat for an hour and race with it. So they came back to me and said, what if we send you the correct seat, which has the right specifications and size for you? This is their GTR Black, and it is the correct size. Now, I thought, okay, well, what am I going to do with the old one? How do I return it? So they responded with, how about we send you this new seat that's the correct size? We will refund you the difference in price because the red was a little bit more expensive, and you get to keep the red. So, the moral of the story is I have an extra seat, and if I want to, I'm going to do a giveaway to give this seat away. So, hats off to that company. Great customer service. Not sponsored by them, but if you want to pick up a nice seat, I think they're pretty good. I ended up having some troubles with the angle of the seat, so I ended up modifying it by switching the brackets side to side, and I bought some 4080 aluminum to mount it so that it lowered it down 1.5 inches. Now for the gauge cluster, I decided to get another one of those touchscreen monitors and create a bezel that would attach to the existing gauge cluster, and I would slide it in like a sleeve and hook it up to my PC like a regular monitor. This piece goes behind the bezel and it screws into the flat piece that holds the monitor on the front of the original gauges. And here's one of the prototypes, maybe the third revision. Here are the final results. Let me know what you think about it. I'm pretty happy with the results and pretty happy with the outcome of how it looks when I'm driving, and you can't even really tell that it's not part of the dash normally, so it's pretty sweet. At this point, I had some friends over and we experimented and played a little bit, and it was pretty fun. It's my friend Dennis. I installed a driver's side door panel, which I bought also on eBay. These were actual Type R panels. I used some spare stuff I had laying around, and I bought some hinges for it so that it could swing out. It's still a work in progress. It doesn't look like this now. It's a little bit better. And it's pretty secure, and it closes and it stays closed while you're driving. You can't even really tell. I am in the process of installing the passenger side as well. I want to get another mat for the floor so it kind of looks seamless. But I'm probably just going to put some wood up underneath it, paint the wood black, and you won't even see it. You really can't even see it even if I pan the camera that way. So the last thing I think I really need to cover before pricing is the monitors. Now, I decided against getting 3 of the ultra wide monitors because it would come too far on each side and it would be hard to get in and out of the rig. I didn't want random people to come in and have to worry about them bumping into it or me bumping into it with my head or anything. So I ended up going with the LG Ultra Gear 32-inch OLED um, dual mode monitors that I run in 1080p. For obvious reasons, I can't really run 4K times 3 because it just in certain games gets like 5 FPS. Even with a 5080, it's still very taxing on your computer. But so I ended up going with this setup. I ended up getting the Race Bear bezel hide kit because I tried the one from Asus and it looked terrible. It didn't fit on these monitors anyways, and it was kind of a matte type weird finish that you could see that it was obviously there. And these race bears are so much better, so much more clear. The only reason you really see them is from the Govee rope light that shines off of it for now. Once I get the roof on, I think it'll be a lot better. Um, so that is the monitor setup. I just hooked them up to the original triple monitor configuration that the original rig came with. Most people end up getting the PVC piping and use that for their cage. I decided to go a different route and try 3D printing one, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Here is kind of the final results of it. I probably will add on to it as I go. I made a notch in the back 90 degrees to hook up to the monitor arm so it can't slide around or rotate or move in at all because it will fall off if it wasn't there. Um, but yeah, it looks pretty good, and I'm gonna be working on a roof here soon to cover it up, wrap it in suede. The steering wheel you see is the CSL steering wheel Sparco GT. It's pretty solid, not too bad. I also have the V3 inverted pedals, and those I really like after I adjusted them pretty well now. Future wheels are the Club Sport Formula version 3, which has been on back order for quite a while now, and I'll get it pretty soon. And I did buy a CSL GT3 wheel as well, which is in the mail. Also bought a track racer sim floor, which I just got in today. Maybe I'll do a video on that. It's going to cover the position between where the seat base is and the pedal adapter track, whatever you want to call it. And that should make it a little bit more seamless. So that wraps up the overview. If there's anything I missed, please let me know. We're going to move on to the price totals of the entire rig and also the price totals of just what I did to add the dashboard on to my existing rig.
Okay, the moment everyone's been waiting for. I was not waiting for this. I don't know why I allowed myself to be put through this. I don't keep track of this sort of stuff because it happens over a period of, I don't know, a year or so. Actually, with the PC, it's, you know, almost 2 years old now, going on a year and a half. Well, I guess a little bit less than that, but still. Yeah, I don't usually keep track, and to do this was kind of a, you know, I hate you guys. So let's go first with things that I already owned, which was the 8040 rig, the butt kicker, and the PC shelf. So that total is $990.98. I'm just gonna call it 1,000. Then things that I've bought recently, all my Fanatec stuff. So my Fanatec, which includes the wheel, the pedals, the e-brake, all that stuff. That I spent $1644.96. Then the monitors, the bezel hide kit, the seat, the sim floor, and the mini monitors, including all the cables, including all the 4040 aluminum, including all the attachment accessories. So this would be just extras, including monitors. That was $36.30. Now the majority of that is the monitors. I could have gotten a triple 32 setup for like 600 bucks, but I wanted to go with OLED. I like the colors better. It's just a much better experience when you're racing, especially when you're racing when it's dark down here. So then lastly, or not lastly, almost lastly, the PC, in which I already have. I didn't really include it with that because it's separate. I have a PNY 5080, a Gigabyte B650 Aorus, a 360 millimeter cooler, a Samsung NVMe, 32 gigabytes of DDR5. I spent 80 bucks on that when I bought it. A 7800X3D, the case, and a Lee power supply, which is L-shaped, so it fits in there. I spent, so for the PC, I spent $23.05 and then some change, but okay. So now the last piece is the dash. Man, my writing's bad. Everyone is kind of waiting for this section, and this is kind of I wouldn't say open to interpretation. It's more of like whatever you prefer for the dash that you want to get. I wanted to get the dash that I had in my actual car, and that means I had to pay a little bit more money. So for the dashboard, for the center console, all the additional panels I had to buy, like the kick panel that went underneath the dashboard, and the door cards, those were not cheap. I spent a total of $2,040.23. So in total, I spent $10,679 on everything. Now again, every single one of these pieces you can do a little bit more frugal. If you want to do a PC, you don't have to get a 5080. If you want to do a Fanatec, you could go with a cheaper brand, a cheaper level. I just got the one that was $699. So again, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening to me. This is kind of a boring video, I know, but this is the breakdown. It's easy to see. A little eye-opening for me because I don't pay attention to this stuff, but kind of around the ballpark in which I thought it was going to be. So let me know in the comments, do you want to do something like this? Do you think this is worth the money? I know it's probably the price of a used beater car, but again, I already have 3 cars, so I don't need another one. This I can drive any car I want at any time, any place. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.